This cruise has been magical. It goes without saying. It has. And I want to talk about the power of now. We got into a conversation last night about how non-physical pays no attention to anything that's happened before, but just to the culmination of all that we are. And
well, we can clarify that statement just a little bit by saying non-physical pays no attention to what has been before, and yet what has been before is contained in everything that is now. So non-physical has the wherewithal to pay attention to so much of what is now that it just brings it all forward into now. And there's a difference between forgetting and just remembering it all, remembering the fullness that all of that has accomplished. Yeah.
Meaning everything that we've gleaned from it.
Everything that you've become. It's more than just understanding it. It's everything that has now accomplished the vibrational body that is you now. Because you see, that's what the vortex is. That vortex is that becoming. It is that having become.
Yes.
And so your understanding that it has become, and then your focusing to achieve harmony with what you've become, makes your now all that you've become. And your realization of all that you've become is where your ecstasy is, and your joy and your passion and your thrill. Yes?
And those two together exponentially multiplies it. It expands it further.
Yeah.
So as you were talking about how beautiful that the woman who just came up here, that was such a beautiful moment. And this cruise has been full of beautiful moments. This life has been full of beautiful moments. But as you were talking about the political spectrum and on a global scale, I couldn't help but think it's just a macrocosm of exactly what we just spoke about with our own personal vortex.
Yes. Yes. Oh, imagine, just for a moment, don't get too carried away with it because it can be overwhelming, but imagine what the collective consciousness vortex must be. Imagine what you've all contributed to it. Not just you, but all those who have gone before.
Yes.
So imagine what it is, and the perfection of it, and the bigness of it, and the potential of it, and the readiness of it to pop into your realization at any time you get ready to allow it.
Yeah. I got aboard ship, and there were a few things that had been lingering in a situation with a boy, and our communication via text message. And it was coming to an end. I know that everything that I put into my vortex and this next great love for me and the work that I can do to bring that into being, or to just to allow it in, doesn't have to do with this particular gentleman. And when
wait just a little bit, because think about all that this particular gentleman has added to the whole. And so rather than thinking in terms of next, think in terms of the whole and your readiness to come into vibrational alignment with all of that. In other words, let's not lose the benefit of the momentum of talking about the power of now. Yes. And the wholeness of the vortex, because then and next are not friends of now.
Yes. That's so beautiful, and I want to get back to that. Suffice it to say, everything that this gentleman did provoke in me and really allow me to see in manifestation form all that I want for myself, but also in a relationship and a partner. As I came to sort of the culmination of learning that from him, my phone exploded and was incommunicado with everything. And it's the second time that my phone has done that in terms of not allowed me to communicate with the outside world via this particular medium. And both times, it's come at the perfect time to allow me to let that go for the moment and just to focus.
And that's worth acknowledging, not only the perfection of the universe assisting you, but what it takes to get you to let go.
Shocking. Truly, a brick to the head. It was profound.
Because you're confident that if your phone hadn't exploded, then what you intended to do would not have happened.
Yeah.
You would have gone against your own decision.
I believe it would have come another way, because I think that's
Sure.
deep down
For
what
sure.
I really
For sure.
want.
For sure. So let's talk about the perfection of your phone blowing up.
Yes,
What a cooperative component.
it really is. It really was and is. So, in talking about,
It is our wish that all of your phones would blow up so that you could talk to each other in meaningful nowness. We don't just mean on this ship, we mean forevermore. Because most of you are not focused in your powerful now. You're focused over there and over there and over there and over there, and you're sort of scattered all over the place. And being proud of yourselves for your multitasking.
yeah,
But your multitasking is diffusing, and it doesn't give you a good read on your emotions, because there's that you're having an emotional response to, and then there's that, and then there's that, and then there's that, then there's that. It's just allowing a sort of overwhelming convergence of people and ideas into your experience, that if you would just let it go a little slower, you would do a little better job of navigating in your lane. That's all. Just a little more airplane mode on your phone.
diffusion is big in terms of being antithetical to the power of now. And one of the things that has been a beautiful awakening for me in my own life at this moment is being aware of how powerful I am, but also every person that I come in contact with, and the beautiful co-creation and what we both bring, what we all bring to this particular nowness. And
the thing about being aware, all good awarenesses that you just offered, the best thing, the most significant thing about being consciously aware of the power of your now is that as you meet each other, and you do, law of attraction insists that you meet up vibrationally, it's often easier to acknowledge where you are by your observation of what and who you're meeting up with. Because law of attraction never makes a mistake. You think that it's because you had an appointment on your calendar, or you think it's because of decisions that you've made, but your rendezvous are profound and exact actualizations and manifestations of your harmonics in vibration.
And how interesting that sometimes we pay more attention to externally, to those that, or to that which we see in another, just to remind us
But
what.
we are giving you the advantage of that, because observing almost every vibration that most of you offer is a reaction to something that you are observing.
Yeah.
And so as you observe and then attract and observe and attract and observe and attract, that's not exactly deliberate creation, sort of creation by default.
Yeah.
Unless you put this important spin on it where you acknowledge, wait a minute, my observation can help me here if I will observe the vibrational content of what I'm attracting. Because now you're taking ownership of what you have attracted, which means now you have some possibility of offering a different vibration rather than reacting to the attraction that is already in motion. That was a lot of words, but you got it, didn't you?
Doesn't that also speak to the fact that there is no negative contrast? Contrast is innately different.
We would call it clarifying contrast. We would call
Clarifying.
it preference building contrast. We would call it promoting of well-being experience. Yes. We would call it your inner being calling you in the direction of who you really are and what you want. And so these people that are showing up in your life experiences are actually the best that you can experience given the resistance that you have on your trail. And it's just fine. But as you're consciously aware of it, then you leave the resistance by the wayside, and so your trail is clearer and clearer, and therefore faster and faster, and therefore funner and funner.
When I was younger, it was emphasized in my household very much goal setting, and then taking whatever action necessary to achieve those goals, and what have you done today, and how have you been productive, and it's...
That's not all off.
No.
Because in the goal setting, there is a sifting and sorting and deciding. And in goal setting, there is often a deliberate focusing on what's in the vortex.
Yes.
And so in setting the goal, often you're focused upon what you've already put into the vortex, so you are coming into the receiving mode. And in the receiving mode, then the impulses that come always pay off. So we don't want to separate what we're talking about here from goal setting once you understand
Yes.
what's going on here.
Yes. And the difference being in where I am now, because everybody sets goals, that's just exactly what you were saying in terms of what do you want, and the declaration of it, and moving towards it.
You set the goals vibrationally. The declaration of it is not the setting of the goal. The declaration of it is you tuning yourself to the goal you've already set. That's a nugget.
Yeah. That's huge. And in terms
Because
of,
so often people think that the way they create is by setting the goals. Well, you've already created. When you receive the idea of the goal, you're already well along the way. By the time the idea that I have a goal has percolated up through the vortex and you've received it in the receiving mode, you're well along the way. It's a slam dunk. You cannot miss. If you have realized it as an idea or even as what you want to call a goal, so much of the accomplishment of it has already happened, and now it really is what our friend who sat here first said to us about just relaxing and letting it be. Yeah.
the momentum has gathered
Yes.
enough
Yes.
to.
Yes.
The difference being now, I think being able to relax in the process of it that much more is to know, and you've said this a bajillion times in so many words, and your lexicon has expanded over time with every single person who needs to, any individual way that they need to hear it or that resonates with them. But just to know that there are no wrong turns, every step along the way, everything that comes into being, every single thing you experience in all of your senses.
Because even if you are taking what you consider to be wrong turns, and even the deeper into the feeling of being lost that you find yourself, the stronger your desire to be found is. And so there's just no way but a happy way out of anything, because whatever you're living is causing you to ask at varying degrees, and when you ask, it is always given. So the whole point of what we're focused upon here is giving yourself permission to expect good outcomes no matter what. But that takes some practice.
Yes. And to know that every step is a step towards what you want.
In the past, we have said sometimes to some people, if you can remember something that wasn't working and then was working, it can give you more confidence that this too can be like that. But today, with this motion forward and understanding that we've all accomplished together, we are not so interested in you trying to remember things as just focus in the fullness of your now and allow not someone who is remembering to speak to you or influence you or call you, but someone who just knows. Because there's a difference between remembering and knowing. And since you are always in a leading edge place, everything that you are living now and everything that you are moving forward to and through, you can't remember because it's all new. So your knowledge is about what? Is it about the trail? Is it about the path? Is your knowledge about the unequivocal laws? Is your knowledge about your guidance system? Is your knowledge about the love of your inner being? Is the knowledge about your absolute worthiness? You see what we're getting at? As you practice these vibrational feelings, these vibrational states of being, then you're prepared for a positive outcome everywhere you go, which is what you all said. Not one of you said, I'll come forth and suffer myself into success. None of you said that. You said, I'll come and I'll choose and I'll decide and I'll go with the flow. And here in this environment, we are activating together within you these important things. Your awareness that law of attraction is, always is, and is always fair. Your awareness that your inner being is, and that your inner being is always aware of you and is always calling you toward things that you want, toward your own goodness, toward your own wholeness. That well-being is dominant, that it does abound, that things are always working out for you. These are the things that as you allow yourself with just a little bit of focus to know, these are the basics that you must know. You are an extension of source energy, and there is a relationship between your focus and the focus of the source within you at all times. Know that. Watch for it. Prove it to yourself. Know it. Because when you know these things that are absolutes, and then you move into experiences that are new, those things you know will make the things that are new surprises and delights, not ongoing challenges. You see what we're getting at? This is a really good time for a segment of lunch.